I learned two things that day. Nick concluded his story, staring at the ground they were hovering over, him showing an emotion that he hasn't shown anyone in a good while. One, I was never gonna let anyone see that they got to me. And two, Judy asked, begging him to continue. If the world's only gonna see a fox that's shady and trustworthy, he continued, there's no point in trying to be anything else. Nick, you are way more than that, she comforted, placing her paw on his arm. He glanced at her and pulled away. Oi, look at the traffic down there. He changed the subject. Former Mayor Don Bellwether is behind bars today, Fabin and Growley reported on the news. The screen showed a video of the sheep in custody, being guided by a bunch of officers through a mob of photographers. Guilty of masterminding the horrible attacks that had taken over Zootopia, along with the murder of the hero of our story, Judy Hopps, using a hitman to do so. The next picture was a selfie Judy took in her police uniform, cheerful and hopeful, just how she always was, no matter how difficult things got. The former mayor, Leodore Leinhardt, Peter Moosebridge continued the story, denies any knowledge of her plan, continuing the claim that he was trying to protect the city. The program switched to the ex-mayor in prison. Did I falsely imprison those animals? Well, yes, I did. But I was doing the wrong thing for the right reason kind of deal. In related news, Fabrine continued, doctors say the night howler antidote is effective in recovering the afflicted predators. Nick Wilde groggily woke up in the hospital. After slowly blinking once or twice, he realized he was alone, with no recollection of what happened. Conventionally, though, a pig nurse walked through the door, carrying a tray of medical tools and utensils. Once she realized he was awake, her eyes widened in surprise. "Oh, you're awake!" she exclaimed. "How are you feeling, Mr. Wilde?" "Like I just got ran over by a stampede," he groaned. "What happened?" She looked down at the floor, suddenly becoming anxious. "Mr. Wilde, do you remember anything before you woke up here?" "I remember that I was with Judy, and we were trapped in a dome-like thing." He looked up to the ceiling, trying to see if there were any answers. "I think there was a sheep with glasses, and—" "Mr. Wilde?" she called, even more worried than she was before. "All I remember is red," the fox stated. He felt his fur on his face becoming damp. He placed a paw on his face. He was crying? "It's okay, Mr. Wilde," she told him, placing a hoof on his arm. "We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to." "No, it's just—" The gesture made him suddenly remember someone. "Where's Judy?" he asked firmly. The nurse was startled by the question, but she looked back down to the ground. Her concerned, comforting look turned into a sad one. "Answer me, please!" he cried. "Mr. Wilde, Don Bellwether shot you with night howlers. You attacked Judy. She didn't make it." Nick's heart shattered. He let go of the nurse's shoulders and lay back down, his face devoid of any emotion. "Mr. Wilde?" she called once again. "Are you all right?" "Yes, the fox trailed off for a second. "I just need to be alone right now." "Yes, sir," the pig nodded, and walked out of the room, along with a tray of tools. After she left, Nick began to sob, covering his face with his paws as tears fell down his fluffy face. "Judy," he sniffled. "I'm so sorry." He killed one of his best friends, if not his only friend. How could he have not been so careless as to let the Night Howler gun be loaded? He had blueberries. Why didn't he replace them with the blueberries he had? They were right. He was just a dumb, untrustworthy fox. That's all he ever be. Suddenly, there was a small knock at the door. Nick quickly wiped away his tears and cleared his throat. Come in. Excuse me. An otter with a blue sweater entered the hospital room. You're Nick Wilde, right? Yes, ma'am, Nick answered. Well, I'm Mrs. Otterton, she continued, wife of Emmett Otterton. You were on his case with Judy Hobbs? Yes, ma'am. Well, you saved my husband's life. I would like to formally thank you for that. Oh, please, the fox tried to stop her. I'm not the only one who saved him. Miss Judy is. She's the one who cracked open the case. I was just the one who took her places and gave her the tips. I really didn't do much at all. If anything, he sighed. I ruined everything. But, sir, if you weren't there assisting her, she would have never gone far as she did. She also would still be alive right now, he mumbled. I'm sorry? Never mind. He shook his head. Thank you for coming here. You didn't have to, and you're welcome for helping to find your husband. No problem, sir, she nodded with a gentle smile. I was already here since my husband is. He woke up earlier. He told me to thank you. Well, tell him I said it was no problem, he answered. Yes, sir, she nodded again. Thank you again. Nick carried a bouquet of flowers in his paws as he walked up a steep hill, finally getting to the courage to visit his friend. Finally, up the grassy hill, he stood in front of a small tombstone of a friend he was waiting. The tombstone simply had her name engraved, along with her birth and death year and her favorite song underneath it. He placed the flowers at the bottom foot of the grave. Nick, sitting in front of the grave, afterwards. Hey, Judy. It's been a while, hasn't it? He greeted, forcing a smile. Well, it's been a year, but still, I guess that's a long while to talk to a friend. He paused. I guess you're kind of wondering what's been going on, he said, scratching the back of his neck. Well, your parents finally understood what fully went on and don't exactly blame me for anything. So, I guess that's good. Oh, I'm a cop now, he stated, pulling out his badge and placing it in front of her tombstone. Though I think everyone is paranoid about me, which I guess it's fair. He placed the badge back up and put it back in his shirt pocket. He looked at the ground beneath him. You know, there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about it. It's like someone is pushing a rewind and play button in my head of the same scene. He looked back at the tombstone, tears falling down his face. Every day is torture, and it's all my fault. If I hadn't been so selfish and small minded, you would still be here. You were right. The fox wiped away a few tears with his arm. I am a dumb fox. Nick? A familiar voice called. Nick, is that you? Nick slowly turned around, only to see a silhouette because of the bright sun setting behind her. He could only make out a small frame, tall ears. There's no way. Judy? No, the silhouette corrected, the sun fully set. He could now see that her fur was a deep brown color with white feet and paws. I'm one of her sisters. You're Nick Wilde, correct? Yeah, he answered, disappointed. What did he expect? Why do you ask? One reason is that I was curious why some random fox was at my sister's grave, she joked, slightly chuckling to herself, but then turned serious. The main reason is I wanted to ask you a few questions while you're here and not saving the world like she wanted you to do. The fox was caught off guard by the question. I think I should visit my friend once in a while, don't you think? Maybe so, but, she replied, shouldn't you be at work right now? No, I'm off duty, he answered, getting a tad bit annoyed at the rabbit. Anyway, why is it any of your business? Did you ever read her will? The rabbit asked. I didn't even know she had a will, he replied. Before she went on this mission, she wrote a will, she began, taking a folded up piece of paper from her pocket. It concluded a letter for you. She presented the letter to him and took it from her paws. I'll leave you alone now. I've done my part. She began to walk away. Wait, he called, causing her to turn around. Thanks. Don't mention it. She smiled a bit, but then walked away. He unfolded the paper and began to read it. Hey, Nick. I guess if you're reading this, I'm not around. I don't know how this happened, and I'm not gonna make assumptions either. But I'm going to assume that you're reading this because you are sad about my death. My sister was instructed to give this letter to you if she saw you, whether it is my funeral or my grave. I don't know where you are right now or even how we were still friends, but I just wanted to tell you a few things. I'm sorry for what I said. I know I've told you that already, but I didn't mean it, Nick. I don't know if you've forgiven me or not, but I know this letter was given to you for a reason. My sister has a good intuition, and I don't think she'd just give this letter to you unless she thought you had forgiven me, or were genuinely mourning. In that case, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for not being here right now. If I could, I'd hug you right now. I think I should tell you to do something because I don't know how you reacted. Maybe you're doing well and you don't need this advice. But I'll tell you just in case. Move on. Let me go. Don't forget me. Maroon for a bit, but please move on. I love you and I care about you and always will. You are a wonderful person and I don't want you to forget that. So, I will conclude on this. Continue making this world a better place for everyone, predators and prey. Signing off for the final time, Judy Hopps. P.S. Don't be done, be sly. Nick's paws were shaking as he folded the letter again and shoved it into his pocket. His vision was slightly blurred with tears. He looked over to his friend's grave, nodded, and stood up. He finally got what he needed to hear by the one he needed to hear from the most. You're right, Carrots. He sighed and walked away. As he continued, he thought about the good and bad times he had with Judy. Yes, there were memories he would occasionally need to think about to bring him to his senses or comfort him. However, he didn't need to live in that forever. He needed to forgive himself and needed to move on. Like Judy wrote, he needed to make this world a better place. Nick got into his car, shut the door beside him, and smiled. I need to get to work then.